normally I'm not the representative here. It's usually Tempo running the main show, and I am his simple assistant. However, there's been an issue tonight, and we're just trying to work around it. So that being said, let's just hop right into the game. Spawning in the top right corner of Catalina, it's going to be the blue Protoss player. For Evil Geniuses, it's HuK. And his opponent to the bottom right, as I make sure I even have my own sounds on, it's going to be StarTale's Red Terran aLive. And I almost gaffed on that one because I totally spaced from remembering he is in fact on StarTale. Still a weird thing for me to get through my mind, I guess. But this is probably going to be one of the more stacked groups in the NSL Prime League. We did Group A, I believe it was, with Tasia and Parting, and you look at that group and you're like, sick, Tasia Parting. But it wasn't really the greatest group because I felt it was going to be a one-sided group, and it was, ultimately, based off results. But this is a group where there's actually 4 really fantastic players. HuK is really underrated for his performance versus non-Protoss, and I think tonight's going to be a good example of him to showcase just how good that can be. Because the other players in the group tonight are both Impact and Soxry. So 2 Zergs, a Terran, and a Protoss. A really good mix of everything. And between aLive, Impact, and Soxry, what I really love about this is they're all kind of that same level of skill. Not to say HuK is or isn't keeping up with them, but from what we've seen in combination of the Alima League, many of the IEM Korea qualifiers, and pretty much anything these guys compete in, they all seem to be just right around that same level of awesome. And of course, like I said, it's kind of up to HuK, the foreigner in the group, to prove himself, and I actually think he'll get a good chance. Don't know how it's going to go versus aLive, because aLive has been really on and off with results, especially versus Terran lately, but I think HuK's got a pretty good chance versus the Zerg should we see that come to fruition afterwards. I mean, it's guaranteed to be versus a Zerg no matter what, but the question is which one, Impact or Soxry, winner's bracket or loser's bracket. But Stargate comes out of HuK, and he does do this in proximity. Always forget about that nice little third base dynamic to this map, but back at home, he's taking some damage from the Reaper. Well, this is a probe so far, nothing too drastic. Meanwhile, Zone Probe almost picks off an SCV, delaying the command center just a smidge. HuK being quite irritating here, but doing a good job with it. Takes about 3 SCVs to build a command center nowadays anyways. But all of this, of course, is to distract and hopefully make sure aLive's not really looking around for this Stargate. Now, aLive's Reaper is hunting for the Stargate entirely because he got into HuK's base and he never saw a second pylon. This was pretty key to knowing there was something proxied on the map. HuK, like, semi-fakes a proxy pylon in the natural base of aLive. I say semi-fakes because he's got a warp deck finish up behind this. He might just try and one base it afterwards. You open with the Oracle, finish it up with like a 3-gate stalker shenanigans, I don't know. But turrets are coming down, however, the command center has been abandoned for the time being, and aLive certainly does not have the production to deal with this. The way he's played this game out has left him very vulnerable here in the natural. So command center is likely going to die. This is really unfortunate for him, of course, because this was a pretty key part of his build, hence not having 3 Raxes up behind this or anything. So as he moves towards a factory and potentially thinks about Widow Mines, the sad reality is he's probably going to have to cancel the command center. And truth be told, it would almost be better to cancel it now, start it immediately on the high ground, so you can at least get it finished. However, while we're talking on the other side of the map, we do have the Reaper kiting around a couple of probes of HuK. He's managed to get a couple more kills out of this. Really, though, 4 probes dead on a 1-base build is not too horrible. He's still producing them, of course, as the benefit of a chrono boost should it come to push to shove. But just to clarify for everybody, this is live. It's March 3rd? No, 4th. Because I can read dates properly. 3/4/2015. And I hope you guys are all having a wonderful night tuning in, no matter where you're from, no matter where you're watching on. But, okay, so the command center, absolutely going to need to be canceled. Wasn't quite sure just how out of hand this was going to be, but that was getting really low. And a little bit worried he might not have actually gone for the cancel on that. Meanwhile, the Oracles make their way up to the main. They're delaying the bunker, and just so much of this is going right for HuK. The weird irony, though, is he is taking a lot of damage back and home from this Reaper. Hardly devastating amounts of damage, but really irritating nonetheless. He has to keep his mothership core at home. He has to divert attention that direction. Just painful, painful, painful. Now, we do, had a Void Ray. Now there's a Phoenix coming up behind this. Kind of a cool move. The Phoenix can quickly swoop in and pick up that Widow Mine, making sure it can't get a shot off. The Void Ray, on the contrary, would have been able to tear down a bunker and a missile turret pretty easily. But HuK, knowing that his opponent had to cancel his own natural, might just look to take his own and try to get ahead, but I don't know. There's a lot of Marines he's going to have to tango with, and he doesn't have a lot of units right now. Normally you scoff and you're like, oh, 2 Oracles. These Marines don't stand a chance. But actually with this many Marines, there's a pretty good chance those Oracles die more often than not. Not to mention the Widow Mine accomplices to them. So HuK with one Phoenix can grab one of mines. One Phoenix can also chase down medevacs. On maps like Atalanta, you don't want to have to unload early as a Terran player, so playing it's fairly safe. I'll follow this medevac as well, because guess what? There's one of mines inside it. So pretty nice catch out of HuK, playing it pretty well, I gotta say so far. I love the cannon coming down right away as well. Wants to make sure these do not catch him off guard, because let's be honest, nothing feels worse than losing the game to Widow Mines, except when you lose the game to Oracles. Am I right? Good. Now, the Oracles are going to come back and try to defend this a little bit. Gotta watch out for this Marines, though. HuK going to lose one of his Oracles. Second one not going to get killed, but ooh, that's going to be painful. I think he's banking on one for detection while the other one went for kills. Meanwhile, aLive does start his command center finally here on the high ground, making it the orbital command center that it once was meant to be forever ago. It's such a nuisance picking up the SUVs behind the racks is... Because the worst feeling is when you forget to put them back on, but aLive's pretty quick to it. Back in for HuK. I wasn't quite sure if he was going to cannon up his natural base, but the pylon placement behind the mineral line might indicate he puts at least one there. I would not say it would be a bad idea at all. aLive has already shown not once but twice he wants to move out with drops, and HuK's done a pretty good job of shutting them down, so... Having that cannon for safety's sake, not risking getting caught off guard by the Widow Mines behind a real attack is a really nice move. It's kind of curious to see him go for the armor upgrades as the priority here. Armor upgrades could be pretty neato burrito if he decides to accompany them with storms or something, but armor alone is not going to save him from a giant Terran push. I mean, while this Oracle inside the natural base of aLive hunting can't find anything. But here's that push, guys. There's a lot of Marines. A photon overcharge will be nice, but those force fields are going to be far more important, whether they're to trap units in or lock them away. Now, oh, focuses down the Widow Mine. Nice catch, nice catch. Keeps the Marines at bay. He's got a bit of range he can abuse with the Stalkers. Not by much, but it's almost like 4 fingers pinching the Marines in place, just holding them into their deaths. And looks like we did have that attempt at a kill move here in the main. Luckily, the cannon did save probes. Not a whole lot, but kept it from spiraling, I guess. Oracle on the other side of the map does die, and HuK gets a couple more kills himself, too, so really keeping up blow for blow on the harass. Oh, Phoenix so close to getting the medevac. I know he wants to go in for those extra 2 shots, but it would have been way too greedy. But Stalkers do not have blinks, so he's got to be careful where he gets caught here with mobility. He might be able to catch this medevac if he's paying attention. Nope. Oh, nice shot. Okay, he gets it. Now, there's not enough Marines to actually, medevacs to accompany the Marines all up to the high ground, so he kind of has to walk around with these, and that kind of sucks. One thing I didn't really bring up, because I didn't even think about it actually until just now, Stim is really delayed here for aLive. You know, he wasted time to get a command center up, he wasted time trying to get that factory down. So much went wrong for aLive, because he just had to delay everything here. So, Stim's late, Combat Shields is late, these Marines are... Well, they'll have +1 soon, which will help, I guess, with the armor upgrades. But the idea is that for HuK, he'll be on level 3 by the time aLive's even thinking about level 2. Now, if that's the case, the Zealots will take hits for days from Marines, especially with the Guardian Shield or 2 in the mix. But I don't want to write anybody off. I still say they're both in fairly good positions. No one's really got a dominant army supply lead. HuK's definitely got an upgrade/technology lead, but that doesn't mean jack squat if he falls behind in production. I've said it before, I'll say it again. What good are +2 armor upgrades if you've only got them applied to 4 units? So I was hoping, kind of yearning, we'd have that old school charge lot storm, but we got Blink accompanying here with the Colossus, so he's going to play this fairly standard behind it. Not a bad move. Not a bad move. Just gonna take a moment here, guys, because solo casting. Ah, sweet, delicious nectar of the gods known as water. I like the concussive shells, too. This is perhaps not worth mentioning most of the time, but it feels like the last 6 or 7 times we've been casting Terran, they have been neglecting, I don't want to say forgetting, but neglecting concussive shells, which admittedly makes it pretty hard to chase down the Stalkers with or without Blink. But storming down the middle of the map with a very large force, drop goes off in the main simultaneously. Nice pylon snipe, going to depower at least 2 of those gateways. Photon overcharge goes off in the main. He scans the natural base, looking for that observer. Just barely misses it. Goes towards the main once again. HuK's already on this. No Templar though means no feedback, means no way to easily deal with these medevacs. But Guardian Shield and upgrades should be able to carry him through the defense. He's a little bit worried about leaving the natural open, but I think realizing, hey, that's 3 medevacs worth of units. You've probably devoted quite a bit here to my main. He's feeling a little more comfortable taking this engagement. Now, we do have observers moving around trying to catch where the medevacs retreat to. Nice snipe on that one medevac on the way out. but I'd say HuK has defended this pretty well. This was an attack that resulted in a pylon kill and a couple of stalkers. Really nothing too crazy. This is a surprising... You know, there's been quite a bit of aggression in this game, but shockingly, there hasn't been too much devastation, I suppose you could phrase it. This could be much, much, much worse for somebody like HuK, but he's done a great job defending so far, and I think this is the stage of the game, too, a lot of Protoss not only struggle with, but complain about. You know, when it comes to the balance finding, it's like, oh, how am I supposed to deal with drops? Well, do what HuK's done and respond appropriately. Now, unfortunately, we are getting to that next step of the game where I think technology gaps a little bit for both players. On one side, we got about 4 Vikings at a time coming out for aLive. That's a lot of production for a lot of units that are going to tear through those Colossus. But HuK doesn't necessarily have to rely on Colossus. I harken back to any of the recent Naniwa games, or even Youngsik, when he's not playing Phoenix, rarely, going really heavy on these charge lot builds. It's so silly to consider, but 37 charge lots in the late game, but a Terran player doesn't have EMPs, and especially doesn't have Widow Mines, oh, they do so good, because look at the composition of this army. It's really Marauder heavy. The Marines are the actual DPS you need to mow through these units, but between Guardian Shields and some charge lots with level 2, sorry, I thought I was going level 3, upgrades, HuK's not going to go down easily. Now, unfortunately, he will see this coming. Nice catch with the Observer. So he sees the army, he's going to follow it. There's a lot of Vikings here. But they're getting really hard ahead of the army, and HuK might be able to blink forward and pick off about 2 or 4 of these before the fight even begins, depending on control. And all jokes about the top 3 control side, HuK does control his army really well. So we'll see how this composition goes down. We got the Twilight Council, or pardon me, the Templar Archives coming up behind this, the potential transition afterwards, but Force Field's going to be necessary, maybe a Force Field or 2 as well, Guardian Shield. And looks like the Colossus are going to go down pretty much as expected. But I like that he didn't pull these back. He's basically trying to do as much damage as he can with them before they go down. But that army supply count isn't going to lie about the results of this battle. Force Fields were working a little bit against HuK there as well. And quite frankly, he takes a huge dive in supply. But he's still holding for the time being. Vikings aren't landed. He's going to pick these off with the Stalkers. But there's just not enough charge lots to deal with the Marauders just yet. But the Marauders, they're so good versus the Stalkers. We're watching this blink go down, but it might as well not go off. The Photon Overcharge is going to carry this, but the third base should probably die because HuK's struggling to hold on as natural. There's no way he moves out to defend that third. Now Zealot's on top of some of the Marauders, and the focus fire is looking pretty darn good. Can he save the Nexus of the Natural is going to be the biggest question right now. The Marauders are, of course, focusing fire a lot of this on the Stalkers, trying to get rid of the damage attacking them instead of diving for the Nexus. That's the right move, of course. He kills the third, and with those reinforcements coming towards the Natural, this is looking worse and worse. More grim and more grim for HuK. He doesn't have any gateways off of cooldown. He doesn't have any higher tech. Good game is called and aLive. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll take game number 1 in this best of 3. Welcome back. We're in game number 2 of this best of 3. It's, of course, the first match of the day, the initial groups here for Group C of the ASL Prime League 2014. And, oh wait, no, is it 2015 or 2014? This carries over from 2014, I guess, right? But is it 2015 since that's when it is? Mr. Saber? Mr. Voice in my head? Okay, well, there we go. 2015, Rifkin's an idiot. I think I've been saying 2014 this entire time. So, without further ado, welcome back. Pretend to restart that, like rewind it real quick. Of course, I know it's not possible, but anyways, ASL Prime Group C of 2015. Man, I think I went three months almost before I messed up the dates, but there we go. Finally screwed one up. Spawning in the top right corner of the map for Secret Spring. Already starting off this game quite well. He's down in the series though. We'll see if the second game brings it back. It's going to be Evil Genius's HuK. And the reason I say this starts off quite well is primarily because he doesn't go for a proxy. I'll talk more on that point in a moment. But in the bottom left, from Startail, it's going to be the Red Terran player aLive. Now, I'm not sure what the deal is with this map. We've basically seen this map only go 2 ways, and that's either in base trades or cheese. And, you know, base trade hype and all that aside, there's been a lot of in-base proxies from Protoss, sticking the pylon over here, trying to sneak it down here to the southern part of the natural base, or the main base. It's just so big and so wide and ridiculous, it's really hard to cover, and it asks for that to be the case. But aLive's sending out a couple of SCVs here, more than 1 or 2? What's going on with this? What's he... Wait. What is he... He's looking for proxies, I guess. Sorry, it's a small moment of, like, WTF. Because that wasn't, like, 1 SCV out of position. That was a Reaper and, like, 4 other SCVs. A little bit, quick. Anyways, Reaper going to hop up here towards the main. He will just barely skirt past the Zealot, actually. A little bit annoying for HuK, but the Mothership Core's on the way, and he might lose a probe through this at most. Looks like not even going to be the case. Reaper actually going to come back home, and Bunker was made out of super safety, but salvages it up pretty quick. I guess for aLive's sake, he was really expecting there to be this crazy aggression coming at him quick. Again, like I said, this map, you expect a lot of proxies, you expect a lot of cheese. Oh, Oracle gets picked off up there. But going to work here on the reactor, going to do a bit of damage. This is a little bit annoying because the Reaper did die, so there's actually nothing at home. Actually, you know what? This is borderline devastating with the follow-up. The bunker being salvaged the way it was. There's no way to stop this from pushing up the ramp, so 2 Marines coming out are going to deal with the Zealot. Maybe, if it... But there's the Mothership Core, so HuK just has to pull back for a second or two, wait a moment, not get too antsy, and picking off the reactor is a great start. It's 50 gas right out the window. SCV's going to have to be pulled into this. He doesn't want to lose this. Too late to the repair, though. No, looks like the Zealot will sadly fall, but there's a pilot here in the high ground. HuK, is he chronoing out Warp Gate? Not yet, but he's got 3 gateways coming up, so a 4-gate, 1 base build. Ooh, this reminded me of like some Wings of Liberty dirty stuff. Bunker trying to go down out of aLive. This really sucks right now. He's kicking himself for salvaging it, I guarantee it, but he's got to make sure he doesn't lose that Mothership Core. Time Warp is going to be really critical once he starts warping units in. But already HuK kills off so many SCVs. This alone has already almost been worth it, even if there wasn't a 1-base follow-up to it. But the Time Warp goes down, trying to catch these last couple Marines with the Stalker. Shots going off. You can barely see them, of course, and there's the warp-ins. This is when a Terran player throws the flag, flips the table, gets mad, shows some emotion. Bunker just barely not complete, but even if it does, there's going to be barely 4 Marines in it. HuK could actually walk past the bunker. He's going to try and bust it because he wants to keep the pylon alive, of course, but as we see, the SVs are out of position, not repairing. Bunker falls, last couple Marines getting sniped, and this is looking like it's spiraled out of control. ASL Prime, we've got the year sorted out, and I'm not in the past. It's 2015, and we're watching Group C. It's the first match of the day. There's, of course, going to be Sox versus Impact after this. And, of course, these first 2 best-of-3s decide who goes to the winner's match and who falls to the losers. Spawning here, though, in the bottom portion of Van Research Station. He's currently tied up the series 1-1. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Evil Genius's HuK. And his opponent in the northern location is Red. He's Terran, he comes from Startail. It's going to be aLive. Now, to the voice in my ear that most people on stream can't hear, Saber, I'm actually observing this myself this time around. I don't know if you want to follow my camera or not. I say this because I know that you and I look at very distinctly different things, but maybe it could be a kind of a semi-night off for you. You can just kind of relax with your hands behind your head and enjoy the production behind the scenes. It's up to you. I'm just putting the offer out there, letting you know that I am also maneuvering around myself. But that was a pretty cheeky game out of HuK, I'm not going to lie. aLive, he kind of suspected something was coming. He quickly doubted that, okay, you know what, I've crossed out the proxy, the time has passed 4 minutes. It's probably not going to be anything too major. Oh, I love this, guys! But yes, it's really unfortunate the way he lost game number 1. Blah, 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 blah. He's actually proxying a factory. Now, there's really cool... This could lead to 2 very cool different variations of this that we've seen so far. One is typically you actually lift this and bring it over to the natural base and start producing Widow Mines over here. The second, and the reason I don't think it's this one is because of the space he's not left himself here, is you can actually proxy some Hellings with the starport and do tremendous damage to a Protoss player, more so than Widow Mines ever even could. But I think this is particularly cool out of aLive because it's kind of like, oh, you cheese me? I'll cheese you. And we'll see just how this goes. Now, HuK puts a Nexus down in the natural, but this is kind of the problem with this. The factory's going to land in such a position that you're not really going to see this. And because HuK has eyes on his own ramp leading towards the main, his brain goes, oh, I can see everything that's coming. I don't need to worry about scouting my own natural base. And he may go over here to Paranoia if he's really worried about this. I mean, it's not uncommon. The Mothership Core, is she going to see it? She's going to see it! Alright, she sees the factory. But let me tell you, and this is so silly, there's really not a lot you can do about this, because what you can do is try and kill this factory, and it will take some time. But what you can't really do is manage to kill the Widow Mines in time. The Mothership Core can soften them up, but the idea is that you put the Widow Mines down to guard the factory. The Reaper, on the other hand, starts killing probes while your Stalker's distracted, and if the Stalker's not helping shoot that Widow Mine, it's not going to die. Now, a nice little bait out of HuK to put one probe on top of it makes the Mothership Core take no damage, and the Stalker will live. But as we look at HuK's production, it's a Forge coming out, not a Robo. So he'll have his mineral lines protected from this Widow Mine attack, this Widow Mine assault, but it's not mobile. He can't move it anywhere else. He can't go clear up his own ramp for quite some time, and this is going to be quite irritating. But what he has done is kept himself from straight up dying in this. One of the worst feelings, of course, is losing all your probes, but perhaps this other Widow Mine will bait. He's still got some time to get in here before that cannon's finished. Unburrowing becomes less and less of an option over time. Ooh. Trying to bait it up and putting it there intentionally. But yeah, as time goes on, the detection finishes up, and looks like he'll lift that factory and take it away. So, minimal damage done. HuK defending quite well. Behind this, aLive's got his own command center up, so we're focusing on HuK's base quite a bit. His production's kicking up as well, and I really don't think he's in too bad of a spot. This is a really cool risk. But that's the nice thing about this risk. It's not really high risk, and the medium reward is it's just that. It's a medium reward one way or the other, with the potential of a great payoff. Now, behind this, more gateways on the way, but we do have the Robo finishing up. He knows he needs observers. He's not going to let this get too out of hand. And, gosh, that'd be just so bad if he went for the probe transfer. Thinks, oh, right, there's one of mine, I forgot. Nah, HuK's not that foolish. Not that naive. I'll clean this up. With the factory heading back home, it's not really that big of a priority to get this back. The only reason you want to keep this alive, primarily, no pun intended on his name, is so you can build more starports. You want 2 starports, generally speaking, versus Protoss anyways, but this drop, going to come in with 8 Marines heavy. No stim, I believe. Nope, just naked Marines. Actually, no tech started. aLive's going to make sure he gets that stim going. There we go, ASAP. But looking for probes, there are some here in the back, hiding desperately for their lives. The photon overcharge goes off, and he focuses down the mothership or the medevac part of me right away. This is a really smart move out of HuK. Prevents any sort of escape plan and guarantees Marine kills. Downside, though, is sometimes that can really cost you because it means that the Terran player will stay and fight. But he also pulled his probes away, and with a little bit of half running around the rosy, he gets out of there with majority alive. In fact, look at the workers killed. 9 in total so far. For the amount that aLive is dedicated to this, it's really not bad for HuK, especially because he is on, well, still similar probe counts. Chrono Boost will help make up this difference, though, as we see it going into the probes, not into the Robo or the upgrades or anything as such, but... Unlike fighting against Zerg players on this map, this wide open terrain doesn't come into as big of an effect. You know, we rarely see force fields come down versus Terran armies in the first place, unless it's super defensive. So, I mean, for HuK to be later to the Colossus, it's not a bad thing. Keep in mind that outside of drops, and let's assume you can shut down all drops, it only takes 1 force field to defend 2 bases. You know, no Terran players pushing up that ramp anytime soon. So, this leaves 2 very awkward situations, and I think one of them, the question arises for both sides. Who goes to that 3rd base? Who actually gets the 3rd base? For HuK, you might think, oh, well, that's pretty easy, but right now he doesn't really have a lot of units in the field. 14 army supply, 3 stalkers, 2 sentries. With a photon overcharge, maybe he defends against drops, but there's no way he defends a push against an actual 3rd base. So I like that he's not rushing out for this. Instead of prioritizing the tech, trying to get blank stalkers up. There's a lot of builds and a lot of plays you can do on 2 bases, but HuK's not struggling just yet. Meanwhile, though, aLive is, well, he's just chilling in the main. No 3rd base thrown down just yet. No 3rd CC in base to transfer over. So he as well is content sticking on 2. HuK, doesn't like that one stalker in particular, I suppose. How dare you be damaged, you yellow-livered yarver. I don't know if aLive's going to be looking for observers. He actually does have pretty good observer spotting skills most of the time that we see him, but so far this series, actually, he's not really been too keen on sniping them. I think the couple he's gotten were the ones at the predictable spots, but either way, not really looking for these ones. These ones just sitting over top of the entire production. HuK knows exactly what aLive is making right now. This is perfect for him, because one of the key things you want to keep tabs on is how many medevacs actually come out into play. He's also seen that's only 1 starport for the time being, so he knows he doesn't have to worry too heavily about Vikings, which makes this later Colossus a little more comfortable. But if you start seeing someone go really heavy on the medevacs, well, you're going to have a hell of a time just, well, enjoying your Colossus, because medevacs are no good, not against that Colossus damage. Now, he will pick off one of the sentries. Good start here for aLive. Stimming for the second one. Really important he doesn't lose this, because he needs 1 more force field. You might wonder why there were 2 force fields down on the ramp, only needs 1. This was not a misclick. He was actually trying to catch the units pushed up the ramp rather than block them out. And as you saw, got some pretty nice kills for it. And yeah, this Colossus might not have extended thermal lance, but there's no fear attacking this army. The Marauders are a little bit dangerous, sure, but the Stalkers, if ignored, can also do a good chunk of damage themselves. But as we see, HuK still takes pretty heavy losses chasing back a very small amount of bio. Natural base has that, what am I drop going down? The cannon's going to shoot it, but shots may still get off. HuK is going to scatter, quick scatter. Couple of probes going to go down. Oh, that second one got about 6 kills and 4 kills. 10 more probes to add to the tally. A couple Marauders die over here, but oh, these medevacs beelining it straight to the main, and HuK is out of position for this. Where's the foot on overcharge? He's got 2 ready to go. Can it save the main, though? He's a little bit late to the draw. Quickly reacts now. We got Zealots warping in directly on top of the mineral lines. Wood mines are burrowed, but... okay, they'll go off anything too dangerous. Got a little bit scary there for a second, but the Colossus coming to save the day. Nicely done. Well played. Let's hope he did notice the widow mines, though. There we go. The surfer floats over the army. I think this was a little bit of luck on this one, but yeah. But let's see here. aLive just kind of floating around with some medevacs right now. Doesn't really have anything to put in them. A little bit sad that that's the case. But if he can start pushing around, if he can start doing some more drops, I mean, that was a fantastic push that I guarantee you made HuK. Well, he's got a couple of bricks lying on the chair underneath him, if you know what I'm saying. But Viking production kicking up now. It does have those double starports finally in action. I guess aLive's going to have a nice army to deal with the Colossus, but HuK's also been given quite a bit of time behind this. Finally on that 3rd base, a little bit sooner than his opponent. I'm not sure how comfortable he'll be on his 3rd base, whether he'll go for a Twilight Council or not. I think that it was a bit of a problem in that last game, or not Twilight Council, pardon me, excuse me, the Templar Archives. Because last game, there were no Templar for feedbacks, or not last game, pardon me, going back to game 1. Last game, game 2 was quite short. But there were no Templar for storms, there were no Templar for feedbacks. Dealing with drops was going to be out of hand pretty much no matter what. But if he can get on top of these, if he can stop drops before they begin, it's really good. But realizing he's out of position, where's that Mothership Core? No chance at a recall, so has to warp in some Stalkers. Yep, there we go, into the natural base. Oh. He's got a little bit out of position. Colossus are going to take the engagement, though. The bio splits. You try to focus on the Colossus, if he pulls it back, it shouldn't go down. Nice use of the cliffs here. And pushing forward, HuK actually finds aLive out of position just enough to take a really good engagement. The Colossus still standing was a really nice move. No Vikings really lost for this, but this was the drops that were taken out. Upgrades still looking pretty okay for HuK on those level 2 armor upgrades, and aLive not moving to 2-2 himself, but both players kind of at that point in the game where no one really wants to invest any gas or minerals into an upgrade. They need every unit possible. For this inevitable engagement. No, HuK's the one who's got a little bit out of position. Luckily, though, it's only a couple Marauders, so this doesn't go too poorly. Sadly, there's no Zealot charge as we see them just slowly walking to their deaths. But Blinks over to try and catch the Vikings that moved in position to catch the Colossus. Oh, this is really nice moves out of aLive, but does he get too dedicated? Does he risk too much? Is the ambition real? He takes out 3 of the Colossus and 1 remains. The Vikings still standing strong. Can HuK hold on to this ramp? The Colossus is going to go down here pretty quick, but he's going to swoop the bio while he does it. No Dark Templar to fall back to. No storms ready to go behind this. He's relying purely on gateway units at this point, and charge has only just begun. Oh, Zealots are normally just the quick warp in about 6 of them, and you're dandy, but not right now, not in this instance. Now he was going to run to the warp gates and try and get more warp-ins available. This is such a hard situation to be in, because he can't really split as easily anymore. There's really not a lot threatening the 3rd base. A small portion of the army getting pushed down from the north, but the Stalkers going a little bit before the Zealots are there, so there's nothing to tank the damage. The Stalkers take all the hits. They don't really get to deal that much damage themselves. The damage they're dealing goes off and is healed by those medevacs, and this is looking like it might just be aLive's game, depending on how this 3rd base goes. Can he hold on to it? Looks like with the Zealot warpins coming in, he will maybe clean up the natural base. Still no photon overcharges available. I think the Mothership Core was picked off. Indeed, it was. Good game is called, and ladies and gentlemen, aLive will take the first series of the day 2-1 and move on to the winners brackets.